Very good. Our next question will be on the court system. Our court system is one of the biggest areas of concern regarding funding. What strategies do you have for maintaining the courts, the jails, and the House of Corrections? And I would like you to also comment on the position that Mr. Walker has on the electronic bracelets and perhaps closing the House of Correction down. And we will start with Tim Mansky.
Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, the courts, the justice system, my favorite area. I've spent many, many years working and basically living in the courthouse, watching cases transpire and move very, very slowly through the system. I think what needs to be done is, well, first, I think you need a leader on the board that has some great research ability in both qualitative and quantitative statistics and investigative ability. I think you need to thoroughly research what's going on within our court system, what's going on in our jails, and what's going on at the House of Correction, and find a more efficient way to process the prisoners, the cases, the whole thing. As a detective, I sat in those courtrooms for hours and hours and hours waiting to be called for a case, only to have it adjourn and come back another day. The same thing goes for the victims and the witnesses and the families involved in these court cases. They too are burdened with coming back another day to hear their case. Something has to be done to speed up the process. You asked for us to comment a little bit about the electronic monitoring. It's great for some nonviolent offenders, that's fine, let them out there, but there's some very, very violent people, I'm afraid, could possibly get on these bracelets, and that's not a good idea. The House of Correction is partially funded by the state. It needs to have more monies brought into there, only because it's really overburdened. The place is actually a state prison. Serious felons are being sentenced to the House of Correction, and they should actually be in a secure state environment. Thank you very much.
John Leishan.
Thank you. Well, when it comes to our correction system, Milwaukee County runs actually the second largest correctional system in the state, second only to the state of Wisconsin. When you look at our court system, one of the problems that we have is we've failed to modernize our system. It is amazing the amount of paperwork that still is in existence in our county court facility versus the computerized systems that are used throughout the nation. So, but that said, it will take an investment, and the question is, where does that investment come from? That if you can't get it from the property tax and you can't get it from elsewhere, if the federal government isn't going to provide revenue, if the state government isn't going to provide revenue, you'll never get that modernization done. This question about the GPS system, I'm in favor of alternatives to incarcerations, but when it makes sense. I would have liked to support the county executive's proposal, but he didn't have a proposal for the 2008 budget. We asked for Sheriff Clark to do an analysis of his plan. He said, I would like to, but there isn't one written down on paper. When the National Institute of Corrections, when they did an analysis of the House of Corrections, they said that the proposal that the county executive made on GPS monitoring was a joke, that it wasn't even written down. So we had no choice on the county board but to raise the tax levy, the $2.5 million, to keep the community correction center open. That when a proposal is made that has been thoroughly researched, that doesn't provide that criminals get out on the street, I will definitely support it. Thank you.
Richard Eaton.
The first thing that we have to do is I will be a full-time supervisor, and I'll be able to go to the state and work with them. The very first thing we have to do to correct our court system is stop what is known as judge shopping. A criminal can walk in, and at the last minute, they schedule him for a trial. At the last minute, he decides he doesn't want that judge. It's put off again for another 30, 60, or 90 days. Now that courtroom is sitting empty with the bailiff there, the transcribers there, and we need to get the state to eliminate that. We are one of the only states that allow that, judge shopping. The second thing we need to do is fully fund the sheriff's department. And we also need to work with the district attorney's office to make sure that they never plea bargain out anybody who uses a gun or a weapon. Those people, their records are miles and miles long. They've been given every chance under the sun. They need to go to prison. And like I said before, if they go to prison, they go to Waupun, or if they're a woman, they go to Techeetah, and then that money is not spent by the taxpayers of the Milwaukee County, it is put on the burden of the state. And I believe that we need to continue that process and continue to work hard to get the state to start taking over the responsibility and start putting county mandates on the state like they put on us.
Okay, thank you. Matthew Mulver.
The court system and the correctional system that we have here in the county is very important. And when we talk about managing it and sustaining it and keeping its funding going, I would first look to cleaning up any waste that's going on. And I would first start a research into every aspect of all of the systems that are being used. And I would look for a way, I would try to institute a methodology to improve efficiencies and to cut costs and to really start to get to the bottom of where the money is going and how we can better put that money to use to get the job done that needs to be done. When we start talking about the GPS tracking system that's been proposed, I think that it is a very good idea. It's a way that we can cut some costs and at the same time keep an eye on those offenders. And I agree that we don't want to get some of the more violent people out in the street in that way. We want to make sure that we are filtering through the people who would be put onto that system and only letting out people that wouldn't pose a great danger to the public. Thank you.
Thank